YouTube, what is good? I've got a special video for you today. It's basically just us going over all the loadouts that we're going to use for Crota's End contest mode on Friday. This might just be something you're interested in seeing, or it might be something that you're going to need help with yourself to set up your hunter for day one contest mode. Now, quick note, we will be live over on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/BurgerStar. We are part of the Twitch Rivals event as well, so if you come and hang out here, you can snag yourself a nice free emblem for watching the contest mode for a couple hours over here, and I'd appreciate you tabbing up and showing some support over here as well. Going over loadouts, we're going to go over basically quick subclass screenshot, so you can screenshot that if you want to, and quick mod setup if you want, and that's basically it. We do have some builds that are going to be using where they're already on the YouTube channel, so you can dive into them a lot more, so make sure you check those videos out if you want to. Starting off, first build we're going to be using is Omnioculus. I think it's only going to be useful for the first encounter, which is the Lantern Run. Keeps your teammates invisible. We're going to have Resist from Omnioculus. It's just really, really good for that. We have a Tether. Here's a quick subclass setup, how we do it. Like I said, full build video on my YouTube if you want to check that out. And here's the mods that I pretty much use. Ashes. I lose the Dynamo, but if you can fit it, why not? Firepower, Bolster, Detonation, Chest Piece. No matter what loadout you are running, always run your resist mods. On any void build that I run now, do not use recuperation, and the reason being is we have Devour on all my void builds that I recommend using in contest mode, and I always like my third slot to be a surge mod. So if I'm running a void weapon like my LMG, void surge. You could use an arc surge, but whatever, basically just match it up. Yeah, class IM, this is not going to change much unless you're going into a damage loadout for damage on a boss. Powerful attraction, because hunters, they always do a lot of rolling around on the floor, you know how it goes. Reaper, Bomber. Pretty much not going to change on most builds that you run on a hunter, in my opinion. So that's the first loadout. I don't see it being used after that unless we start really struggling with survivability, in case Bungie turn up the knob and say you're gonna go get shit on in this raid. On to what I'm bringing in second, we have a Jafalcon's build. Jafalcon's is really, really good. Really, really good ad clear. We get a bit of survivability in terms of Devour and invisibility, but you also get volatile rounds which help with barrier champions if there's barrier champions in the raid. Here's a quick subclass thing for you to screenshot if you want to. And then the same for mods. We're running Ashes. Make sure you've got a Siphon mod on, probably a Harmonic one for this one, because you're going to be running Void Weapons with Jafalcons. Bolstering Detonation, Firepower, Resist mods, Surge mods. Literally the same. And then look, Powerful Attraction, all the same on this build too. Moving on to these other two builds, they work a little differently. Unless you're running Tether for a debuff, our team, we're probably going to be looking to use things like Tractor Cannon for debuffs. That allows me as a hunter to run things like Arc for damage on bosses. But the way we set this up is a little different. My Arc build for doing ad clear in any encounter or mechanics, I like to run Assassin's Cowl because it gives me the survivability on the invisibility from Assassin's Cowl. And then this subclass setup here, if you want to take a screenshot, but we run Combination Blow. If you're not a very comfortable Combination Blow player on Arc Hunter, you can choose not to run this, and you could probably lose something like Lethal Current if you really wanted to, and run Tempest Strike to keep you a bit of range. But I'm not the biggest fan. You could look at it though if you want to. But here's the fragment. Here's the build. Now, I'm going to be using this, and obviously, as you can see, we're going to be using an arc weapon generally. We've got hands-on, firepower, and heavy-handed for our orb creation, resist mods, recuperation, innovation, and then the same slight up on that class item again, as you can see. Going to be doing a lot of rolling around on Assassin's Cowl build. Now, if you're using Arc for damage, you don't want to be on Assassin's Cowl for damage, and you want to be able to maximize your DPS in terms of weapon surges and all that sort of fun stuff. So the way to set this up is have a second loadout, like me, for damage. Now, my Star Eaters build works on Solar, Arc, Void, works on all the subclasses. Only using it for Arc and Solar though. So as you can see, I do have 111 result, but it doesn't matter. All it matters that it's up at 100 or more, because all you're going to be using this for is for damage. It's your damage build, that's it. And how you want this set up is you want to make sure you've got 3 surges on, and you want to make sure you've got double time dilation on. This is going to give you the maximum amount of time and the maximum amount of DPS that you can have in the fight. And that's how you set up your damage loadouts. The thing you want to make sure you do change though is you want to change from Gambler's Dodge to Marksman's Dodge. And what Marksman's Dodge does, if you don't know, is Marksman's Dodge just reloads your weapons and makes it a lot easier easier to get a reload off and do as much damage as you possibly can. So that's how I set my damage loadouts up. In terms of Star Eaters, when you're setting up a Star Eaters build to help you guys out on how I do it, and because it keeps it simple for me. So Solar has the most negatives in terms of fragments. So I set it up on here for my stats to be right on Solar. So even if I change it to ARC, my stats stay the same, but I just got that extra 10 result, and it doesn't matter for damage anyway. So I can easily swap this build on day one no matter what. This is my Solar build. Here's the fragments. We run a healing nade on this one because survivability on a Solar Hunter is a bit less compared to any other Solar subclass for Titan or Warlock. We have recuperation, resist mods here obviously, and then you're gonna want heavy-handed, and you can honestly run impact conduction. Causing damage with your melee, your throwing knives, which are gonna give you radiant, is gonna give you grenade energy back to help with your healing nade coming back. Helmet, you're gonna want hands-on, and then you're also gonna want whatever surge, probably a solar surge, because you're gonna have to run solar weapons with it. So I've got things like mini tool, explosive personality, and the reason we're running solar weapons is if you dive down into this subclass setup a little bit more, it could be a blade barrage, or it's gonna be the marksman golden gun that you're gonna want super wise. You can make the decision whichever one's gonna be best on day one when you're in the boss fight. Ember of Torches gives us radiant from a melee. We're running Solace, which extends radiant and restoration effects. We're running restoration from the healing nade, but then we're pairing it all with Ember of Empyrean. So all our solar weapon or ability final blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant. With this build, I've tested this in an underlight environment. It will work in day one. You will be able to keep restoration and radiant up all the time. I am running Ashes here. You could probably change Ashes out, and I'm probably going to, for Ember of Singeing. And what Ember of Singeing does is when you scorch targets with mini tool or your melee, it's going to help your dodge come back faster. And then we're running Ember of Benevolence. So applying restoration, cure, or radiant to your allies is going to make your regeneration faster. Just an easy mod to have. And that covers the solar build. So if I was setting this one up for damage, I'm thinking, right, okay, I need this for damage. I'd click this. It's on ARC. I just swap it to Solar. Make sure the fragments all match in the order that I want them to, because they have to match in the correct order so you don't lose your super. Match my surges to whatever my heavy weapon is. Make sure I've got double time dilation, and then just reset it. That's it. That's as easy as it is. That covers Solar. Solar is exactly the same. You just want to build into healing a little bit more because you don't have as much survivability when you're on Solar. Okay, so that covers pretty much all the loadouts that I'm bringing for the main things that are going to be needed in day one. We have a damage loadout for Star Eaters, for Arc and Solar, which work on both. So that covers all that for you. Next part is going to be Aeons. Aeons is for creating heavy ammo for your team. We honestly are going to be in need of heavy ammo, right? So Aeons is never a bad option of creating ammo. So I like to have a loadout there to be able to go, yep, I can get a finisher. I'm going to instantly swap to my loadout on Aeons and go get that Finny and make us some heavy ammo. When setting up Aeons, I always set it up on Solar because it has the most negatives on the fragments. So when I do, if I'm on Void, I swap it to Void. I can swap one Resil mod to a mobility mod if I need to, or just leave it as B, and it's there, look. And then I can save it on Void. If I need it to be on Arc, the build works on Arc. If I need the build on Strand, it works on Strand. If I need it on Stasis, it works on Stasis, stat-wise. So no matter what, this build works. So if I know I'm going to be needing Aeons at the beginning of the encounter, right, I'm running Void in this encounter, I need to make sure it matches my Void, one of my Void builds fragments, swap to it whenever I need to, and then I don't lose my super. And that's it. That's literally how it's set up. Set your mods up the same as the original build that you were using before, swap into it, and that's my Aeons build. Very simple. Right, Crota. I am bringing a Celestial Nighthawk build. We don't know what it is going to be like in Crota's End. We are bringing Celestial Nighthawk basically because back in D1, you used to be able to pop a golden gun with Celestial Nighthawk and shoot it once and it'd blow the Oversoul up, which is the white mechanic in Crota, and that is the only reason I am bringing it. Probably Copium. Let me know what you think of the comments, but that's why we're bringing this. Right, the next thing we're going to be bringing is a final stand loadout. I'm sure everybody that's watching this video all knows that Malfeasance and Lucky Pants is hell on earth right now. It is so good and does so much damage. So, it's there for a final stand. I actually think that it's actually going to be banned for the world's first race or is going to be disabled. Let me know what you think, if you think it needs disabling or whether you think it should be left enabled for the day one race. So that's it. That's why we have that. We have a Malfeasance build. Final stand. Swap to Malfeasance, 20 rounds, and then swap to Touch of Malice if you're out of ammo. One last build that I don't think is going to be used. Guys, I genuinely don't think is going to be used whatsoever in the slightest, but Radiant Dance Machines for straight rocket dump on DPS. I don't think it's going to get used. It's there as an in-case thing, and I'd rather have it set up. I'd rather than have it and not need it than need it and not have it. You just have match surges like you do on your builds and double time dilations. I'll be honest, if you're not used to running this, don't even bother. Even if you could use it, don't bother using it. Just use Star Eaters and stick to just reloading your rocket. You'll be completely fine. And setting up that as a damage loadout works exactly the same as how we did the Star Eaters loadouts. That covers all my builds. What I'm bringing into day one. Like I said, Malfeasance one might get changed. We're thinking on bringing a Strand build as well, because the Beyblade build is really, really good, especially with the artifact mod Elemental Munitions for creating heavy and special ammo around. It's really, really good right now. The last loadout I have saved is literally my Eager Edge and Shatter Skating. Who knows? Maybe we could cross the bridge with a Shatter Skate. What do you think, guys? Let me know in the comments. But that covers all my loadouts. I hope it's been a helpful video for you and what to take into day one Crota. Let me know what builds you're taking into day one Crota, whether you be on a Warlock or a Titan. Yep, Wall of Radiance busted. Let's nerf well, please and thank you. Don't forget to like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel as well, and I'll see you in the next one, gamers. Good luck on the world's first race.